The morning started like any other Tuesday. My coffee maker gurgled, my toast popped, and my tie refused to cooperate. The only difference was Danny standing in the kitchen doorway at 6:15 a.m., clutching his worn dinosaur plushie, a full 2 hours before he usually woke up. "Buddy, what are you doing up so early?" He didn't answer, just stared at me with those big brown eyes that suddenly seemed too old for his 6-year-old face. When I reached for my car keys, he moved with unexpected speed, wrapping himself around my leg. "Don't go to work today, Dad. Please." I tried to gently pry him loose. "Come on, champ. Daddy has an important meeting." "No." His grip tightened. "You can't drive today. You can't." Sarah, my wife, appeared in her bathrobe, looking concerned. "Danny, what's wrong?" "Dad can't drive today," he repeated, his voice breaking. "The road breaks. I saw it. I saw it in the dark place." Sarah and I exchanged worried glances. Danny had been having nightmares recently, but nothing that had affected him like this. "The dark place?" I knelt to his level. "What dark place?" "Where the other kids are." They showed me. "The road breaks and people fall into the dark." Tears streamed down his face. "Please, Daddy, don't drive." Sarah pulled him into her arms. "It was just a bad dream, sweetie. Daddy will be fine." But Danny wouldn't stop crying. When I tried to leave, he became hysterical, screaming about the dark place and the other children. It was so unlike him that I found myself wavering. "Maybe I could work from home today," I suggested. Sarah nodded, relief crossing her face. "I'll call your office. Danny, honey, would that make you feel better?" He nodded, hiccuping through his tears. "Promise you won't drive all day?" "I promise, buddy." He finally let go of my leg but insisted on watching me unplug my car keys from the charger and place them in a drawer. Only then did he allow Sarah to lead him back to bed. "That was intense," she whispered when she returned. "Should we call Dr. Matthews?" I was about to agree when my phone buzzed. A text from my colleague Marcus Reed. "You watching the news? Major accident on Highway 23. Traffic's at a standstill." I flipped on the TV. The local news was showing aerial footage of a massive traffic jam. Nothing unusual for Tuesday morning, except breaking news, the anchor announced. "We're getting reports of structural concerns on Highway 23 near exit 47. Engineers have been called to inspect." The camera zoomed in on a series of massive cracks spreading across the elevated section. Even as we watched, the cracks widened. "They're evacuating vehicles now," the anchor continued. "All traffic is being..." Wait. Oh my God. Live on air. The elevated section collapsed. Cars that hadn't been evacuated in time tumbled into the darkness below. The camera jerked away, but not before capturing the horror. My coffee mug slipped from my numb fingers, shattering on the kitchen floor. That was my route to work. I would have been there, right there, at exactly that time. Phones started ringing. Sarah's, then mine, then the landline. Friends and family were checking if I was okay, if I had been on the highway. Through it all, I could only think of Danny's words. "The road breaks and people fall into the dark." I ran to his room. He was sitting up in bed, staring at the wall. "Danny, how did you know?" "The other kids told me." He turned those two old eyes toward me. "They see things in the dark place. Bad things that are going to happen." "What other kids?" "The ones who got taken. They want to help, but the dark place only lets them show kids like me. Grown-ups can't see." A chill ran down my spine. "Taken? What do you mean, taken?" But he had already curled up under his dinosaur blanket, pretending to sleep. The death toll from the highway collapse reached 17. The news called it a structural failure, blaming poor maintenance and budget cuts, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to it. That night I couldn't sleep. Around 3 a.m., I heard Danny talking in his room. I crept to his door and listened. I told him, he whispered to the darkness. "I stopped him like you said. But what about the others? There's too many to warn." Silence. Then, "I know it hurts in the dark place. I want to help them too. But how?" I pushed the door open. Danny was alone, sitting cross-legged on his bed. "Who were you talking to, buddy?" He looked up, unsurprised to see me. "The missing kids. They're trying to warn everyone, but most grown-ups don't listen to children." "What missing kids?" He pointed to his wall. I hadn't noticed earlier, but he'd pinned up newspaper clippings, missing children posters, some recent, some yellowed with age, all local. Where did you get these? They showed me where to find them. In the library's old papers. They've been trying to warn people for a long time, Dad. But the dark place only lets them talk to kids like me. I sat on his bed, my mind reeling. Danny, you're scaring me. I know. He crawled into my lap like he used to when he was smaller. They're scared too, but they say more bad things are coming. Big bad things. And they need our help to stop them. Who needs our help? He shook his head. Can't tell you yet. But tomorrow another kid like me is going to try to warn their daddy about the train. We have to help them, Dad. We have to make the grown-ups listen. I held him close, feeling his small heart beat against my chest. Outside, a train whistle sounded in the distance and Danny began to cry. Because somewhere in the city, another child was waking from a nightmare about trains. Another parent would have to choose whether to listen. And in what Danny called the dark place, the missing children were trying desperately to prevent tragedies only they could see coming. The next morning's newspaper headline read, Massive Train Derailment Avoided. Anonymous Tip Credited. The article detailed how an emergency inspection prompted by an anonymous caller had discovered critical track damage that would have caused a catastrophic accident. I knew it hadn't been anonymous. Somewhere, a child like Danny had managed to convince someone to listen. 7, Danny said at breakfast, pushing his untouched cereal around the bowl. 7 what, honey? Sarah asked. 7 kids like me in the city now. The others showed me. We're all connected to the dark place. Sarah shot me a worried look. We'd spent hours on the phone with Dr. Matthews yesterday, trying to make sense of Danny's predictions. The child psychologist had suggested anxiety, stress, perhaps an unusual form of precognition. But nothing explained the newspaper clippings, the specific details, or the other children. Danny, I said carefully, can you tell us more about these other kids? He drew a circle in his milk with his spoon. They're like me. They can see what's coming. The missing kids show us. And the missing kids, Sarah pressed, they're in this dark place. Not just kids. Danny's voice dropped to a whisper. Bad people put them there, under the city. In the old tunnels where the trains used to go. That's why they know about the trains. They hear them up above. My blood ran cold. The abandoned subway tunnels hadn't been mentioned in any of our conversations before. How do you know about the old tunnels, buddy? They showed me, in my dreams. They're trapped down there, but they can reach out to kids like me. Show us things. He looked up, eyes brimming with tears. They're trying to stop it from happening again. Stop what? The bad people. They're going to take more kids. Soon. That's why the missing ones are warning us. They don't want anyone else in the dark place. My phone buzzed. A text from Detective Rivera, an old college friend I contacted about Danny's predictions. Need to talk. Can you come in today? I showed Sarah the message. She nodded. I'll stay with Danny. Go. At the police station, Rivera looked like he hadn't slept. His desk was covered in old case files. Your son, he said without preamble, mentioned abandoned subway tunnels. Yes, this morning. Why? He spread out several missing person reports. In the past 40 years, 23 children have disappeared in this city. No bodies, no traces. The only connection we never made public, they all vanished within 3 blocks of old subway entrances. My hands shook as I looked at the photos. Young faces smiled up at me, frozen in time. There's more, Rivera continued. Every few years, right before a new wave of disappearances, there were reports of children having nightmares, warning their parents about specific accidents or incidents, just like your son with the highway. How many kids are having these dreams now? 7. He met my eyes. Just like Danny said. The missing kids, I whispered. They're trying to warn us through our children. Maybe, or maybe someone was trying to stop whatever happened to them from happening again. He pulled out a map marked with red dots. These are where the children disappeared. These, he added blue dots, are where the 7 children currently reporting dreams live. The dots formed a pattern, a circle with one point still unmarked. They're surrounding something, I realized. The old central station, abandoned in 1982. And according to city plans, it connects to a network of maintenance tunnels that were never properly sealed. My phone rang. It was Sarah. Danny's gone, she sobbed. He left a note. It says he's going to help the others, that they showed him the way to the dark place. Rivera was already grabbing his coat. The central station. That's where they'll take him. They? Who's they? According to these files, every 40 years, children start having dreams, warning about accidents, drawing attention away from what's really happening. He checked his gun. While everyone's distracted by prevented disasters, other children disappear. But Danny, he helped save people. Yes, and that's exactly what they wanted. Build credibility, make people believe the dreams, then use that trust. To lure the children who can see them, I finished horror dawning. We raced to the old central station. The entrance was chained, but fresh marks showed where the chains had been recently moved. Wait for backup, Rivera warned. But I could hear Danny's voice echoing from below, talking to someone or something. I came like you asked, he was saying. I helped stop the accidents. Now please, let the others go. A deeper voice answered, human, but wrong somehow. Such a clever boy. Just like the others were. Don't worry, you'll see them soon. In the dark place. I didn't wait for backup. I ran down the stairs, Rivera cursing behind me. The tunnel stretched ahead, Danny's voice growing fainter. Because sometimes the real monsters aren't in the dark place. They're the ones who create it. And my son was walking right into their trap. The tunnels branched like veins beneath the city, each turn taking us deeper into darkness. Rivera's flashlight beam caught decades of graffiti on the walls, and something else. Children's drawings, etched into the concrete. Warning signs, I realized, left by those who came before. Danny, I called, my voice echoing. Dad? His reply came from everywhere and nowhere. Dad, don't. They want you to follow. Rivera grabbed my arm. Listen, he whispered. Beyond Danny's voice, there was something else. A humming, like electricity, but deeper, more mechanical. Beneath that, the faintest sound of children singing. This way, Rivera said, pointing to fresh scuff marks on the ground. We followed them to a maintenance door, half hidden behind old equipment. It was warm to the touch. The power readings, Rivera muttered. All these years they've been drawing massive amounts of electricity down here. Everyone assumed it was measurement error. The door opened onto a corridor that shouldn't exist. Modern LED lights buzzed overhead. The walls were clean, new. And at the end, my God, Rivera breathed. Screens covered an entire wall. Each showed a different traffic camera, emergency service channel, or news feed. A command center monitoring the city above. They're watching, I realized, using the children's warnings to study how people react, learning patterns. Dad. Danny's voice crackled through an intercom. They're not just watching, they're learning, teaching their machine. What machine, buddy? Where are you? The dark place isn't dark anymore. It's full of lights. And numbers. So many numbers. A slow clap echoed behind us. A man in a lab coat emerged from the shadows, flanked by others in surgical masks. Fascinating, isn't it? He smiled. Children's precognitive abilities, properly harnessed, create the perfect predictive model. Each generation gets stronger, more accurate. Where's my son? Joining the others, helping us perfect the algorithm. He gestured to the screens. 40 years of data. 40 years of children's warnings, teaching our eye how to see the future. And now, with 7 new inputs. They're not inputs, Rivera growled. They're kids. They're the next step in human evolution. Their brains interface naturally with our system. The perfect organic processors. A scream echoed through the corridors. Danny's scream. I ran. Rivera's shouts and gunshots faded behind me as I followed my son's voice to another room. It was filled with pods, like MRI machines but smaller, child-sized. Danny was strapped to a gurney, fighting as they tried to load him in. The others, he cried when he saw me. Dad, they're still alive. All of them. The machine keeps them dreaming, using their nightmares to predict disasters. But it's killing them. I tackled the nearest technician. Rivera burst in, gun raised. Police, everyone down. But the man in the lab coat just smiled. Too late. The connection's already established. All 7 children are linked now. The dark place is complete. The pods hummed to life. Inside each one, screens flickered with data streams. Behind the numbers, I saw faces, The missing children, aged but alive, trapped in an endless dream. Danny, I reached for his hand. Hold on, buddy. It's okay, Dad. His eyes were unfocused now, seeing something we couldn't. I can feel them. All of them. They're showing me how to break it. Break what? The machine. It needs all of us to work. But if one of us refuses to dream, his eyes rolled back. The lights flickered. Alarms blared. No. The man in the lab coat shouted, running to a console. He's corrupting the data stream. Stop him. But Danny wasn't alone. Through the machine, through the dark place they created, 23 missing children joined their power with the 7 new ones. 3 generations of stolen dreamers, fighting back. The screens exploded in cascades of sparks. The pods opened with hydraulic kisses. In each one, children who hadn't aged a day began to wake up. The algorithm, the man wailed. 40 years of work. You forgot something, Danny said weakly as I unstrapped him. Dreams aren't just about seeing the future. They're about hope. And you can't trap hope in a machine. Rivera's backup finally arrived, flooding the facility with tactical teams. They found 40 years of evidence, children used as processors in a twisted attempt to create the ultimate predictive AI. But they never found the dark place. When the machine broke, it took that nightmare realm with it. Later, Danny told us he still dreams sometimes of the other children. Not warnings anymore, just normal dreams of kids finally free to wake up. And somewhere in the city's records, there's a file marked Project Oracle that no one can open, because some futures shouldn't be predicted. Sometimes the best warnings are the ones that teach us to change what's coming. And sometimes the darkest places only exist until someone is brave enough to break them.